Cool. Hey guys, welcome to the Austin Report podcast. Today I have Gene Griffin. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
I know I've had a lot of guests. I'm trying to invite like a guest a week at least.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this more often. So I guess just want to start it off. Who you are, how long you've
Yeah.
lived in Austin and things like that. Just want to
Yeah.
kick that off.
First and foremost, I'm a husband and father,
Yeah.
right? Uh, we'll get the fun stuff. I DJ,
Yeah.
right? I'm an
International DJ.
international DJ. Career-wise, I am the branch manager of Massif Mortgage Co. I'm sorry, Massif Mortgage Group,
Yeah.
which is a subsidiary, and I'm the national director of Barrett Financial Group's commercial division. And I also am the president of Massif Capital Group.
You're
So
just doing a lot of things.
basically, I work in finance.
You work in finance. Okay, to link it
Yeah.
up, you work in finance.
Specifically real estate finance. And I've been in Austin since 2006.
2006.
Yeah.
That is crazy. So I want to kind of get into that
Sure.
that Austin topic because we're in the Austin report.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, like I ask every guest that have lived in, you're like kind of like an Austinite, you know?
An OG, man.
Yeah, you're an OG, right? I want to know your thoughts of Austin, like previously versus Austin now, and which Austin do you like better?
Oh, man. So when I moved here in 2006, the two tallest buildings downtown were the Capitol and Frost Bank.
Really?
So as you know, we have a skyline now, and Frost Bank is kind of dwarfed. You could barely even see it. So it's changed quite a bit since I moved here. I remember when Rainy Street was just all old houses. Now it's high rises, right?
Yeah.
So it's changed a lot. The vibes changed a lot too. When I moved here, I worked in the music industry. That's what brought me to Austin prior to getting into finance. And it was very much still kind of that old Austin vibe. Keep Austin weird. Hippy dippy.
Hippie dippy.
Yeah. So it's changed quite a bit, right? So
Yeah.
now we're a much younger city, very tech forward city, and the old vibe is still there. You just got to find the old heads out there, and the old haunts and cool spots. That
Do you think that's diminishing though as new people come in from, all different states, California, you know?
A little bit, right? But it's still here. There's pockets, right? And what I've noticed is a lot of the old Austin is kind of spread out to the suburban areas, which I can't speak for all suburbs of Austin, but there are certain suburbs that aren't like a Houston suburb, right? Where you've got TGI Fridays and a Chili's and all these different restaurants. You've actually got cool Austin-based businesses that have franchised out to the areas, like the Via 313s and home slides and things like that. I'm not associated with any of these businesses. I'm just
Yeah. Shout out local
yeah,
businesses.
shout out local businesses. But yeah, so you see pockets of that stuff in the suburbs, which is cool. Some of that culture is coming along with it. But yeah, it's changed quite a bit.
And so my question to you is, which Austin do you like better,
Well,
the
you
old Austin or the new Austin?
You can get me in trouble.
This is why I want to mention
All
it.
right,
you
well,
know?
I got two answers.
Okay,
Personally, I like the old Austin.
personally, okay.
Professionally, I like the new Austin.
Mhm.
So
Why would you say like personally you like the old Austin? Is it because of just your memories kind of growing up? Maybe the population was not as it used to be. And I have a follow-up question for you, being
Yeah.
Austin as the music capital, and is it not?
Oh man,
Anymore.
I'm gonna sound like a boomer, but parking's a pain,
Yeah.
right? You can't park anywhere in Austin.
Yeah.
You can't go out to dinner without getting a reservation weeks in advance, sometimes months in advance, right? So you got to wait everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I talk about often is you see a lot of businesses that popped up, bars, restaurants, to cater to this new tech crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a couple frat bros got together and like, oh, we should open up a bar, right? So there's no soul behind it.
Yeah.
It's just a money making vehicle, and those are the ones that are boarded up and closed now because
Mhm.
a lot of the tech, there was a big layoff when AI came up, and
Yeah.
a lot of the tech, a lot of their crowd that they were catering to, no longer here,
Yep.
right? So, capitalism wins.
Yep.
if-
At the end of the day, yeah.
But and there's places like Hole in the Wall on Guadalupe on the drag that have been here since the 70s, like that has a soul that won't be going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You've got Whitehorse holding it down on the east side. You got Sagebrush down south. All these kind of Austin staples that have that Austin vibe still holding strong and roots really, really deep into the city.
Got it. And would you say Austin is still the music capital or no?
Ooh,
That's a little bit of a take, you know. I've heard a lot of things, but I want to hear from you.
I'll say one, I'm a little further removed than I used to be,
Yeah.
but two, I don't think it is anymore. No.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. A
Yeah.
lot of people have said that Austin used to they were attracted by the
Yeah.
music capital. But even after discussing, with a lot of guests here, they think it's more comedy has
Hmm.
more taken over
Comedy has.
compared to music.
I mean, there's still some obviously incredible artists
Yeah.
in this town and emerging artists. I used to say, because I used to manage bands, I used to tour manage and
Yeah.
production manage, all this stuff. People didn't come to Austin to make it big.
Yeah.
They came to Austin to get better.
Yeah.
The competition level of musicianship and artistry was just extremely high. So just by proxy being in that community here made you better, right? You
Yeah.
wanted to be able to play as good as the guy next to you, or sing as nice as the lady next to you, and that brought everybody's chops up. And the smart ones ran their business as a business, right, while still being artistic, and basically left Austin to make it bigger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I remember, oh man,
Memory
yeah,
lane?
2007, 2008, smoking a blunt with Gary Clark Jr. and on the corner of Red Seven and 7th Street and Red River, and now he's a multi Grammy award winning artist, but he had to get out of Austin to get the notoriety he deserved, and then he brought it back home, and I'm pretty sure he lives out in the hills somewhere down south in a really nice area, but sorry, Gary Clark.
Gary Clark. So would you say like I guess we're talking about Austin itself. There's been that old Austin, there's the new Austin.
Hmm.
I know we're gonna talk about your DJ, the
Sure.
music as well. But I wanted to also talk about like Rainy Street
Yeah.
because I've covered old Rainy Street and then new Rainy Street
Yeah.
itself. So what's your opinion on that? Because I've heard like a lot of things have changed in Rainy Street to not being that kind of authentic anymore.
Yeah. So it's kind of gone through three phases, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Initially, it was just residential,
Yeah.
right? It was just old school homes. And then those started to flip into kind of like bar house, house bars,
Yeah.
right? They're taking these big footprints of these awesome structures and creating some kind of bar situation out of it. Lester Pearl was one of the first ones out there. And
Nice.
but now all of that is bulldozed and we've got these high rises, right? So it's shifted significantly. It's gone from the old Austin kind of hangout, dive type bar situation to more of like a party street,
Party shit.
party house
Sixth
bar
Street.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's more of like your posh upscale $20 cocktail spots, So
Yeah.
yeah, not really my vibe.
Not really your vibe, but I guess the old Rainy Street, like the old, not Rainy, yeah, I would say, yeah, Rainy Street is where they had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, would you say that's more of your vibe?
Yeah, for me personally. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like a nice cocktail. And
Yeah.
I like a nice, aesthetic, but also just like to kick back and be me and not have to, keep up with the Joneses kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah.
Cool. So now that, we've kind of covered Austin
Mhm.
as a city itself, I know I tied the music capital,
Yeah.
and it's not the music capital, and I know you're a DJ as well. So
Yeah.
how did you kind of get into this like ecosystem of being a DJ?
So my dad's a classically trained musician, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in Houston. My dad played with all the Houston blues legends.
Really?
So I would come to Austin as a kid, and my dad played with blues musicians that were like signed to Antone's record label when they had that going.
Yeah.
So I was engulfed in the Austin music early on, and obviously in Houston as well. So, there's always been this struggle between me and my dad: is a DJ musician or not? And I don't think we are, but I think we're producers in
Yeah.
a sense, right? Which is a different shift, right? And a producer could be a musician could be a producer. Um, but as far as, when I look at, when you talk about the music, capital music capital of the world, it's like, well, do DJs fall in that category or do they not? Right. So
Controversial take.
actually, what really got me into DJing, I always collected music. I always been, have vast vinyl collection. Obviously growing up with it. That's so in about 2009, my music firm was going pretty well. My artist services firm was going pretty well. There was a freak accident, and one of our artists didn't make it out of a house fire. So
Oh,
we lost a
wow.
close friend, and it really just took the wind out of my sails. I was like, it was hard to make money in that business. I was having a great time, but he was a close friend,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It meant a lot to you.
Yeah, I mean, it hit the city hard. I mean, he was very well loved and respected, playing, local, not local festivals, big festivals, Fun Fest, and things like that.
Yeah.
So it really just took the wind out of my sails personally, and I really leaned into my vinyl collection at that point. And I was like, well, I can DJ. That's a way to keep my toe in music,
Yeah.
right? And keep my pulse in it. And it was more of just a hobby at first. And I don't even know, 15 plus years later, I've DJ'd from Boston to, Los Angeles and Costa Rica.
Or
And
you're just international DJ.
I mean, I've done one international gig, but that makes me international,
That makes you
right?
an international DJ.
But I'll do, I had residencies in Denver, so
Yeah.
I'll do little flyouts. But current day, pretty focused on my career, but I'll do pop up gigs here and there. And it's with my work. I say this often, but with my work, I have to talk to people all
Yeah.
day long.
Yeah.
I have to be on all day long. And when I DJ, I just put on those
Those
headphones,
headsets.
and I'm in a
Lock in.
completely different world, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really have to talk to anybody.
No, not really.
So it's a really good therapeutic mental balance for me. So if
Yeah.
I can get one solid DJ gig a month, I treat it as a therapy session with a paycheck, and then
Do people tell you to change the music like when you're in DJ? Because sometimes I've
um,
heard like some people, I don't really vibe with that music.
yeah,
You
people are weird, man.
know.
Some of the things, people will come up and request a song,
Yeah.
and it'll be a joke for their friends.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yo, I got to entertain the 200 people
Yeah.
sitting here.
It's the
And
masses,
if I
right?
play that one song, it's gonna kill the vibe. So
It
I have
isn't.
no problem telling people no.
No.
You
Right.
know,
You have to kind of control
yeah.
that room as a DJ.
Well, and to some people's credit, like they don't really understand how it works. They
Yeah.
don't know that I spent 4 hours hand selecting a playlist that I'm gonna play, like a DJ set for this specific environment and vibe or theme or whatever's going on.
Yeah.
That's the work that people don't see.
Got it. So I guess in terms of your DJ kind of things, like what kind of genres do you kind of do, or is
Yeah.
it, or would you say like it's kind of the vibe, like
Yeah,
depends?
so I'm an open format DJ,
Yeah.
which means I basically do it all, right?
Yeah.
Started off doing vinyl, then I went digital because I didn't want to take my records out in the
Yeah.
summer heat. But I really gravitate towards um, soulful music.
Yeah.
I love doing house music
Oh, we love.
specifically because you can branch out in many different directions,
Yeah.
right? I can do Afro house, I can do Latin house, I can,
Yeah.
I can do what I call, I create my own subgenres too. I call, lounge house, which is just
Mm.
low key,
Yeah,
easy
low-key kinda
listening,
chill vibes.
yeah, chill vibes. But it's really centered around the vibe. I can do like one of my favorite subgenres is what I call hip house, so it's like hip hop and house music blended. So it's high energy,
Mm.
people can dance to it, but they hit lyrics here and there that they know, so they can
Yeah.
sing along to it as well. And that gets a great response because I could take that to a club, I could take it to a bar, I could take it to a backyard, and everybody vibes with it.
Because it's a balance of both. Because
Yeah.
if people don't like the lyrics, at least the beats are still
Well, yeah, but
there.
they're like, oh, I know this song, but it sounds a little different.
It sounds a
Right.
little different.
Yeah.
Got it. So would you say like I guess your DJ kind of thing
Mhm.
is it more of kind of like it's like a passion for you right now? I know
Yeah.
before we kind of get into like what you're doing right now,
Yeah, it's a
more of a
passion.
passion, right?
And then, I always joke that my retirement plan, I'm going to become a producer.
Oh, nice.
So I'll get back into music, when the career slows down a little bit,
Mhm.
which is funny. I look at a lot of the successful DJ producers these days, and they got the gray beards, they got the gray hair. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well that's natural progression.
That's
right?
natural progression.
But yeah, it's definitely a passion. I love to bring people together,
Yeah.
and music's that universal language, music and food,
Yeah.
right? It's that universal language
No
that
matter what language you speak,
yeah,
you're gonna
you're gonna vibe, right?
yeah.
And I just love that. I love being able to pull that energy up and
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
right?
So last question before we move into more of your career
Yeah.
is I know we have like you do like EDM, but why is house music not part of EDM? I know we talked about
So
this, but I want people to
I actually
know.
don't do EDM.
Oh, you don't do EDM.
I'll do some drum and bass or,
Okay.
breakbeat stuff,
Yeah.
which is really high tempo.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we were kind of chatting about
Yeah, we were
this. Like
chatting about this, so I'm just curious.
technically, and all my DJ heads out there,
Yeah.
don't
They're gonna listen, you
don't
know?
kill me, but basically, like technically, house music is electronic dance music,
Yeah.
but it doesn't fall in that category from the DJs, producers, and listeners for whatever reason, right? So EDM is more like your dubstep and things like that, trance, hard beat, things like that. But for some reason, I think because house music has actually been around for much longer than most people realize.
Really.
Um, Started in Chicago, it's it's seen as a respected and understood genre of music. And then EDM kind of went in a different direction, and I think that's why it's separated.
Got it,
Yeah.
got it. Cool. Now that we've kind of talked
Hmm.
about your, I guess, passion, DJ, I want to kind of move more into,
Sure.
what you're doing kind of on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I know you're involved in, mortgages and
Hmm.
things like that. So can you tell me like how did you even stumble on this? I know
Yeah.
from a DJ to a mortgage, like working with finance and loans and things like that. How did that happen?
Really, I found out I was going to be a dad, right? And I was like, okay, well, I've had a fun career in the music industry, and I was already kind of transitioning out of it, and I was like, okay, I should probably get a job,
Yeah.
right? So,
More stability, would you say?
more
Or
stability,
yeah.
yeah. So I joined the corporate world, worked for a local company here, and did really well there. Started off at the bottom, worked my way up pretty significantly to a solid title, but the salary wasn't really
Reflective.
reflective. So I started looking around more, and a good friend of mine is like, "Hey, why don't you come work at this financial brokerage, and you'd do great." And my concern was like, well, it was 100% commission. I was like, "Oh my god, I don't know about that." And I respected this friend enough, and he knew me well enough. He's like, "Look, dude, if you do terrible at this job, you're gonna double your income today." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's easy." So I dove in, um, did pretty well over time, worked my way up, and that was in lending, but it was
Yeah.
a different area than.
What year was this, by the way? Do you remember?
This was probably 2011,
11.
I'd say. Yeah, 2011
Because
maybe.
2008 was the financial crash, and
Yeah,
then you kind of then went into
yeah.
the
So then I went in, and um, it was intimidating at first because I was like, "Oh man, these people know what they're doing," and I was, there. It was like a, it was like a sales floor, right? High energy, sales bros, all of that. Some of those guys I still talk to, right?
yeah,
But I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, well, how can I compete, right?
yeah,
Create processes, become efficient, and I'll learn as I go. And that worked really well. Also, just outwork everybody else.
outwork everyone
Yeah.
else. And
And
that's how you
then
become successful in sales.
exactly. Yeah. So that worked out great. I stayed in that sector of the industry for a long, long time. Got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I could be more efficient. And that means I don't know if I can make more money than I'm making now. Right. So I kind of hit the ceiling. And I was like, well, what's next? And mortgages made sense. I have a great passion for and belief in home ownership. Um, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, and my house was burned down when I was young, and my parents didn't really get back into home ownership until later in life. So it was something I was pretty passionate about from a selfish standpoint, but also I could help other people achieve that American dream of home ownership. So
Yeah.
I got into mortgages right right in the middle of COVID, basically. Right,
So 2020.
actually beginning of COVID, but all the interest rates kept going up while as I moved my career into that that field, that
Were you
area.
freaking out as the interest rates were going up?
Yeah, dude, it sucked. But I'll tell you this, my wife believed in what I was doing. My wife has her own business. She's been a hairstylist for almost 20 years now. So she had a very established
Wow.
business. I had saved up some money and I was like, oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
Right. Well, as rates went up, my money ran out. Right. So,
Yeah.
I'm very transparent. I remember many, many times waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, throwing on a blue Amazon vest, going and delivering packages in my car
Really?
while listening to mortgage podcasts and doing whatever I could to like continue learning and growing and getting off at 7 a.m., take a shower, work a full 10 to 12-hour mortgage day, not getting paid really, just working,
Wow.
just putting in the work and just doing what I had to do to get through that period because I believed in the direction I was headed and I knew if I pivoted, it would be two steps back.
Yeah.
Right. So the only reason I was able to get through is one, my tenacity, two, the support and belief from my wife, and just the determination to not give up and
Yeah.
make it through that tough market, right?
Yeah.
And we're still dealing with it. I mean, rates are
Yeah, of
still
course.
high, but
Rates are still high. Yeah.
I put in that groundwork that got me through it, but also set my foundation for my success today.
So I guess kind of tying to, something that people can relate to is
Mm.
like, did you have days where you're just like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I've had enough. Like the rates are going up.
Hmm.
I'm working. You said Amazon, right? You were like
Yeah. I
driving.
was waking up in the morning,
Yeah, you were
delivering
waking
Amazon
up in the morning,
packages.
but then, the daytime, you weren't really making a lot out of it because
Yeah.
it was more of you were just learning and you were
Yeah.
just trying to get through it. So did you have like certain days where you're just like, man, I wish I could do something else?
I still have them.
You still have them.
Even if you're successful, there's just days, no matter what, that just like you're like, what am I doing? Right.
Yeah.
And I used to make jokes. I do a lot of metaphors, make a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
I used to make jokes like, yeah, I've got my windows locked because I'll jump out the window. Right. And
Yeah.
that sounds
Yeah, it's a
extreme, or I'll throw
metaphor.
my
Yeah.
computer out the window or
Yeah,
something. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's still days like that, where you doubt yourself or you question your decisions. And, those are the times you've got to push through. I'll tell you a quick story. I
Yeah.
remember one night we are going through it, right?
Yeah.
My wife's paying all the bills. I'm
Yeah.
doing the Amazon thing and
Yeah.
working, but I didn't see a paycheck for like months because there was like no business,
There's no
right?
business. Yeah.
And I remember I was in bed with my wife and she was like, how much longer do you think we can sustain this? And I remember I never felt this before, but I closed my eyes and it wasn't like my life flashed before my eyes, but it was everything we're going through in that time period flashed before my eyes.
Really?
Like backing into a expensive mailbox in a rich neighborhood, trying to deliver a package at 5 in the morning in the rain, and just everything. Putting on that blue Amazon vest, which I keep in my office to this day as a
Really?
reminder. My life flashed through my eyes, I guess, for that time period. And I came back and I told my wife, because I had to answer her question. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't quit. Right. I'm too far in and I believe in what I'm doing. This is the moment where people either quit and never know
Yeah.
or push forward and find out. Right. And I pushed forward and,
And you found out?
found out. Yeah. I mean, we're
Yeah.
doing pretty solid these days.
Yeah. And would you say like I guess one of the things that I like to say everything is you took a risk.
Yeah.
You took a risk
Yeah.
because it was I mean you could have potentially even went back to corporate, right?
Yeah.
And had more of a stable, thing, like a stable salary,
Yeah.
benefits and all that, but you're like I'm meant for more than that and I want to see how I can excel in something like finance and
I've always had the
mortgages.
entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay.
And, it's a really good question. So I did a mastermind one time with Clinton Sparks, who's a highly successful music producer, actually. And
Yeah.
this had nothing to do with music, but just being successful and mindset. And I remember telling him about how I grew up and how I've had a chip on my shoulder my whole life to be something better and make something more or achieve greater heights. And he was like, that's a negative mindset. I was like, what? He caught me off guard. He was like, no, that's the wrong way. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's what's got me to where I am today. He's like, yeah, it's carried you here, but it's still a negative mindset.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're absolutely right. I thought about it. I slept on it. And I was like, you're right. So what's been motivating me has been a negative mindset.
Really.
So I switched that to my motivation is now helping
Helping people.
helping people. And that carries me. And, with my team and every conversation I have is like, look, we don't focus on the money up front. We
Yeah.
focus on how do we help? How do we help somebody achieve their goals
Yeah.
or solve their problems?
Yeah.
And when we do that, we get financially rewarded.
Yeah.
Right. And that mindset has been a huge, huge catalyst to where we are today.
The
I mean,
giver's mentality.
it was always there,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't think it's something you find. Like it was always there. It's just I was I had to refocus.
You had to
Yeah.
refocus. But
But
would you say, like, I guess a lot of people still don't have that mindset and they go out of business because they think of money first and
yeah,
then they think, people second.
yeah.
When you put money first and people second, you know what happens.
I mean, people over profits, right? And look, you can have a successful business that's run terribly.
Of course.
You can have a great business that is not successful, right? Also, you know, I often say that like if you have the money mindset, money first,
Yeah.
you can make money. You
Of
can have
course.
some success,
Yeah.
but it will die.
It will die.
It will be short lived, and because people are going to pick up on it,
Yeah.
right? And once they pick up on it, your business slows
They
down.
call that the commission breath.
Exactly. And then if you leave with people over profits and you're servant hearted, that giver
Yeah, the giver's
mentality,
mentality.
it takes a little bit longer to find success, but it lasts as long as you maintain that, right? So I'm trying to build something bigger than me,
Yeah.
right? Of course, I want to make money. I want to provide a great life for my family,
Yeah.
and I want to help a lot of people along the way. And there's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Could I have cut corners and made more money? Sure.
Of course.
It's just my principles are everything. I don't do it just for the money, right? I want to have purpose.
You want to have purpose.
I call it my Saving Private Ryan moment, right? At the end of Saving Private Ryan, Private Ryan, the old guy, is in his bed, and his family's around him, and he's in the hospital bed, and he looks up, he's like, "Told me I lived a good life." I don't want to have to say that.
Yeah.
I just want to look up on my people and know I lived a good life, and then look back and know that too.
That you've helped people
Yeah.
and you've made a positive contribution to society,
Yep.
right?
In fact, I've got a teenage daughter, and we'll ask, "Hey, what do you want to do when you grow up?" She doesn't know yet, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
And I was like, "Look, whatever you want to do, I'll support you 100% as long as it has a positive impact on this world." And it could be anything. Like my wife's a hairstylist. She makes people feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So the smallest things could make a positive impact.
Yeah.
So you got to make a positive impact on this world, and you've got to give it everything you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally
Like
agree.
there's somebody successful in every little thing. I joke. I'll point out. Somebody's successful in straw manufacturing, or
Things that you don't think
things
about.
you don't
right?
even think about, building these microphone
microphones.
buffs, whatever. And whoever started that, they had the mentality they want to be the best.
Yeah.
Right. So again, positive impact on the planet, give it everything you got.
Got it. Now that we've talked about kind of your career, I want to talk about, because you're involved in the loan industry, you're
Yeah.
involved in the mortgage industry. I want to know, like, in terms of like interest rates, because everyone asks about interest rates. Why are the interest rates so high and things like that? Can you kind of give insights on
Yeah.
that, and what do you think is going to happen to the interest rates? Maybe in a year or two.
Well, it's funny.
That might be a tricky question, but just want to
It's
hear your
funny.
thoughts.
Yeah, I just read an article this morning.
Oh, did you?
Right now we're dealing with a conflict overseas in Iran,
Yeah.
and it's it's back and forth. Right?
Yeah.
It seems like it's heating back up again.
Yeah.
Well, that uncertainty in the markets affect mortgage interest rates, right?
Yeah.
Without getting super nerdy about it,
Yeah.
everything ties to the Treasury yield bond. For example, you've got the Federal Reserve. If the federal head of the Federal Reserve comes out and says something that sets some kind of public opinion on Wall Street, you're going to see an impact on mortgage rates, right? So I think for the next year, they're probably going to teeter a little bit, but kind of remain flat where they are.
Yeah.
I really don't think, and this isn't getting political, but we have to pay attention to
Yeah,
politics,
we have to.
right? I think it's going to take a new administration to see lower interest rates on the mortgage side. Now, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
During COVID, we saw 2.999% rates,
Crazy
2.5%. You will never see that again. You'll never see that again.
Really?
Okay. Your children's children will never see that.
So that was like a one-time phenomenon.
Complete fluke. It was a global pandemic. right? Now, I say never. Maybe we have another global pandemic.
Could
Who knows,
happen.
right? Um, but if we get rates in the 4 to 5% range, that's pretty solid,
Yeah.
you know. And there are situations where you can still get rates in the 5%, right? Yeah, all that being said, and this is kind of like a shameless plug because I am a mortgage broker,
Yeah.
but that's the value of working with a broker. I don't work for a bank,
Yeah.
right? I work with banks, but I shop over 30 lenders for my clients, right? So we're going to get you the best rate.
Yeah.
In fact, when rates dip, like they did a little bit last year and earlier this year, I checked in all my clients and we run a full on refinance analysis. It still made sense for them to stay where they were because I got them the best rate to begin with,
Yeah.
right? So, um, rates are rates,
Rates are just rates.
right? The key to finance in general, and I'm not a financial advisor,
Yeah.
I'm not a CPA, but I work with money. And the key to finance is credit and playing the game, right? Credit's a game, finance is a game.
It's both of them are games.
I grew up my whole life, I love my parents. They're great people. I learned so much from them, but I learned what not to do with money, right? And there's so many people that have no clue what their credit score is because they're afraid to look at it.
Yeah.
There's people that don't think they can save money, so they don't even think about it, right? But what's happening is they're allowing their credit and their finances to control them.
Yeah.
You've got to step back and say, "No, I'm taking charge of my stuff. I can fix my credit."
It's impulses.
It's impulses, right?
People want to buy that fancy bag. People want to buy that new car.
Well, it's just learning how to play these games.
Yeah.
Finance and credit, it's a game.
It's a game.
And the ones that don't realize that, they lose.
Yeah.
The ones that realize it, they do a little bit better. The ones that realize it and learn how to play it do well.
Do we think we even have an education system for that? Because I don't think even in colleges and things like they don't really teach about this kind of stuff, right?
I think we're getting towards that.
Yeah.
My daughter's going into high school. We'll find out for sure.
Yeah.
But we're also at the age of technology
Yeah.
and information,
Yeah.
right? We live in a place where if you're unsure of something, you can do a baseline research, right?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, always talk to a licensed and credentialed professional,
Yeah.
right? Scratch the surface on research, but talk to somebody that does this for a living,
Yeah.
right? That's their livelihood is
Yeah.
to help people in these areas.
Yeah.
I'll give you a small little story on that. I've got a client right now, commercial client
Yeah.
in Oregon, and he was a commercial fisherman. He got hurt, some kind of injury, and he got a pretty significant settlement, like $2 million.
Wow.
And he wants to buy a multifamily commercial property. I'm like, great. Let's talk about this money because I always want to say, hey, you got a bunch of money and do you have a financial advisor first? If not, you need one.
You need one.
Like 2 weeks ago, right?
That's like lottery winners, right? They
Yeah.
blow it and then they like these millionaires.
Yeah.
They blow it all and then they're back in the streets, you know?
Well, this guy put $400,000 into his dad's account. Well, his dad's going to get hit with capital gains on that
Yeah.
for about 120,000 of it. So that's just now I don't know the right
Yeah.
way or wrong way because
Yeah.
again, I'm not a financial advisor,
Yeah.
but I do know that that's probably going to get hit with capital gains, and that's probably going to be about $120,000 down the drain. So work with professionals, right? In the mortgage world, there's so many myths. In social media, you have get rich quick schemes.
All the time.
Those drive me nuts. In fact, one of my social media strategies is to go through in the morning and find some of those and professionally debunk them.
Really?
Not in a rude way, just be
Yeah.
like, well, it's not exactly how it works, or it's not exactly that easy. It's all clickbait, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the deal. If things were that easy, do you think that guy or that gal would spend their time recording videos, teaching everybody else how to do it?
No.
No, they're making money off of social media. That's where they're getting
selling
their
a
money.
course.
Exactly. They're selling a course, right? Nothing wrong with it, but it is
Yeah.
what it is.
It is
right?
what it is.
Because if they were so successful in it, they wouldn't be on social media at all.
Yeah.
They'd be
Just
on the
doing it
beach drinking a
themselves.
Mai Tai, you know?
And in a yacht,
Exactly. Yeah.
just chilling, right?
Yep.
So
I think rates are going to stay even kill for a little bit, but I don't have the crystal ball. If I
you
did,
don't have to. Yeah. Then
you know.
then you would. Everyone would be asking you
Yep.
if you had the crystal ball. And then I guess itself, like Austin, like home prices and things
Mhm.
like that. That's another question as well.
Yeah.
I know you're not a realtor, but you work with a lot of realtors.
Yeah.
So what do you project? Because obviously in 2020
Mhm.
we had that whole interest rates being low. It's
Yep.
absolutely skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And then I believe in 2022 is when we kind of had that correction,
Yeah.
right? Like 2021, 2022. Now it's like things are, kind of in that stabilized zone, maybe a little bit going up. But what do you project for Austin in maybe the next few years in terms
So,
of real?
so I actually bought a house at the very end of 2021, so I have some really good insight.
Okay.
I I did get a 2.999% interest rate,
Oh wow.
which is killer,
Yeah.
right? But I definitely overpaid for my house,
Okay.
right? So fast forward to today, what 2021, it'll be 5 years in December I've
Yeah.
owned this house and I have little to no equity in the home because the value has corrected.
Yeah.
The prices have come down. I think they're kind of balanced out now.
Yeah.
I know rents have come down.
Rents have come down.
Now that same house, it's an investment property,
Yeah.
right? I've moved to Georgetown from Leander,
Yeah.
and we had a tenant there for 2 years, and we're looking for a new tenant now, and I've
Yeah.
had to drop the rent multiple times. So that tells me that affordability is a problem to where it's driving market, rents down, which means values are probably going down as well,
Mhm.
right? So I think we're going through our second correction
Yeah.
in the Austin area,
Yeah.
and I think it'll slowly start to climb back.
It'll slowly
Yeah.
start to ground. I know you mentioned you live in Georgetown right
Yeah.
now. What makes Georgetown so special? Because I do a lot of
Yeah.
coverage with the Austin Report, talking about all these new developments coming in
Yep.
Georgetown. But from a person who actually lives in Georgetown, like why Georgetown specifically?
Man, Georgetown's unique. And again, maybe I'm gonna sound like a boomer, but I love it out there. So I've moved my office downtown Georgetown. My
Yeah.
wife has her business downtown Georgetown.
Yeah.
Um, to me, it's so a couple things. Georgetown, 3 out of the 4 last years in a row, I think there was one of the fastest growing cities in
Yeah, they
America.
are one of the fastest.
It is known for the most beautiful town in Texas.
Yeah.
The city itself, and I know this because I just went through the Georgetown Civic
Oh,
Leadership
did
Academy.
you?
Pretty
Perfect.
pretty involved in the city there, but
Yeah.
um, they have like some of the highest bond ratings as a city. So
Really.
all these kind of things that cities try to achieve, they're like leading in.
Yeah.
And the preservation of the downtown square is a big one too. So a huge emphasis on keeping the town square what it is.
Yeah.
Uh, Emphasis on art, tourism, the right responsible growth. Um, I think those things really add to the allure of Georgetown. On top of that, you know, on a deeper level, I think that towns like Georgetown, where you can go sit on, the square porch at Mesquite and have a beer with just random people and neighbors, that is what our country needs. We need community like that, where you can go share a beer with somebody that you don't know, that
Yeah.
you may have complete different ideologies and backgrounds, but just be able to have a conversation and get to know each other, right? Get off the screen and be with actual people,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's honestly in a divided country that we live in. I think
Yeah.
that's how we save it,
That's how
right?
we save
We
it.
just get out there and talk to people, right? I still don't. We can have a conversation and I can walk away disagreeing with you, but I have more insight now.
Yeah.
Like
Instead
maybe
of
I'm like I can understand why they feel the way they do,
yeah.
right?
Right now it's so social media driven. Everyone
Yeah.
wants to text. People want to avoid
Yeah.
conversations. When you grew up, it was nothing like that.
No, it was
And now you see people like this. Like what do you project in the future? I mean, we live in such a digital age right now.
yeah.
Talking about metaverses, you're talking about all this. Do you think that communications can get worse and worse as we kind of,
I
go
think it'll
through?
get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And that's a common theme, right? I use a kind of an analogy, and I'll tell that analogy and how it pertains to a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So going back to music, when we
Yeah.
look at music medium,
Yeah.
right? So we had vinyl records, and even before that, we had wax. But we'll start at vinyl records,
Yeah.
right? Then we had the 8-track,
Yeah.
right? Which most people don't realize 8-track is a very hi-fi form of music because it's audio tape,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Then you had the cassette tape,
Yeah. Oh yeah. The
right?
cassette days.
Cassette days,
I remember
Walkman
that.
days,
I
yeah.
remember those.
And then you had CDs, and
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Oh, CDs are great." Well, CDs scratch. They don't have a long lifespan,
No,
but they
they
can be
don't.
mass produced,
They can be
right?
matched.
And CDs went crazy, and then streaming and MP3s and
Netflix.
digital,
Yeah, all these things.
and that changed the way music was written. And I'll tell you why. when you buy a Led Zeppelin album, right, and you put a Led Zeppelin vinyl record on, you're listening to a book from start to finish. Music was written to be conceptual, to tell a story back then. When things switched to a CD, even where you could change tracks like that, or even the MP3, it changed how people wrote songs. Now they're trying to write hits,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which
Yeah.
everybody's trying to write a hit, but
Yeah.
it's just, it changed the way things were written.
Yeah.
It changed the artist approach. And then, MP3s went through the roof, and something happened along the way, streaming and MP3s, something happened along the way where all physical media pretty much died except for vinyl records. And vinyl records made a huge resurgency because people wanted that authenticity. They wanted the physical aspect of putting a record on, putting a needle down and listening to a record, flipping through that big physical book, that piece of art, right? That you don't get from your phone. So how does that tie into our communication? Think about AI,
That's
right?
what I was gonna bring that topic up.
AI went crazy,
Yeah.
and then it got integrated into people's daily lives, which is kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
It will be regulated, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
These AI companies are going to want some type of intellectual property out of it.
Yeah.
I believe that you're going to have to tag things that are produced by AI.
Which I
You
mean,
know,
you kind of already do that with
kind of, yeah,
Instagram
yeah, you see
detects
it.
it and things like that,
But
right?
for
With it.
example, if there's an article published,
Yeah.
it's AI published article, I feel that there will be some kind of legal requirement to tag it as that.
And if not, then you're gonna be consequences.
Yeah, consequence. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you're flipping through an article and you see, an article and it's tagged AI versus an article written by an actual human, which one are you going to read?
So that's a really good question
Yeah.
because when you have artificial intelligence, I mean they're gathering so many sources, so
Yeah.
many opinions and things like that, which means could be correct, but
Right.
then you have a human writing
Yeah.
writing it, which means they're an actual person writing it, but
Yep.
they might have a lack of gap and information like that. So
How
it's
about this?
yeah,
You can make music through AI,
of course. And I've
right?
heard nice music through AI.
Right. So would you rather sit in your house and push play and hear a track? We'll just call it like an Americana folk song.
Yeah, yeah.
Push play and really vibe out on an AI written track versus go sit in somebody's backyard with them with a guitar around a fire pit and actually singing a song in front of you. Which one would you choose?
Obviously the latter
Right?
because it's
So,
just more authentic that way,
bingo. I think the draw for authenticity is going to correct everything.
You think so?
Right? The human connection is we need that.
I think it's at a low because
It
it's
is at a
just
low.
people just don't want to talk anymore. I
And
see people, it's funny. I see people in the same bench
Mhm.
and they're texting each other.
Yeah, that's
Like,
weird.
that is weird.
Well, and there's a young man that he runs an AI company here, and we had a very deep conversation about this. And we said, where do we see technology in 20 years?
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, honestly, and I had a dinner party last night. We were talking about this. Is AI going to replace jobs? Absolutely.
Yeah. of
What
course.
happens then? Right. What happens if you don't really have to work? I don't know.
You're
But-
going to just DJ.
Yeah. But I think one of the things I would like to see and hope that happens is we get back to that human connection. We do the work within that we don't have time to do because we have to work 3 jobs to survive,
Yeah.
right? So we work on ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And that's going to portray out into society and the connections that we have. So I'm an optimist, but I hope that eventually we don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs to survive, right? And we can do the work that we do that's meaningful. We can do the work within ourselves that's
Yeah.
more meaningful than anything. And then we can share that with others and connect with others along the way.
Got it. Yeah, AI is like one of those topics of, you see all these robots and things like
Yeah.
that. Is your job going to be replaced and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you
Yeah.
personally, with the mortgage industry and things like that, what do you think AI is going to do to this whole mortgage industry, in terms of having, see how good AI is right now with all the machine learning. It's giving you all the data. But imagine 5 years from now, do you think that it could kind of obliterate the entire market?
I want to respond, but I'm going to start with, again, a conversation I had last night with my wife and friends. She's a hairstylist.
Yeah.
Right. So we were talking about my job versus her job.
Yeah.
Could you imagine you're sitting in a barber chair
Yeah.
right now, right? And you've got a robot behind you with a straight razor in its hand. How's that
I
going to
can
make you?
picture it.
How's that going to make you feel?
A little, I mean, at the beginning, I think a little uncomfortable, but
Right.
but what if like people get used to it, you know?
And that's possible too.
Yeah.
Now tie that to the mortgage industry. I okay, so I'll say this from a non-ego, a place of no ego,
Yeah.
but I think my job, my position will be fine because I am an early adopter of the technology,
Got it.
and I am leveraging it to grow my business and do more and be ahead of the curve.
What
Right?
AI do you currently use?
I use Claude.
Claude. Yeah.
Yeah, I use Claude
One of the best.
pretty deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weren't you one of the top 1% of Claude users?
I was like top 10%
oh, top
globally last year, which is
globally.
crazy.
That
Like,
is insane.
but yeah, Claude's fantastic. What it does, AI won't replace me;
Yeah.
it'll enhance me, right? So AI is only as good. I mean, from a small business standpoint, right? AI should not be a replacement to who you are,
Yeah.
right? It should be an enhancement to who you are. It's only as good as what you have up here and how you operate it,
Yeah.
right? But if you have some intelligence and you're able to have a vision and you can transpose that into the AI and you know how to operate the AI, you can do incredible things. And
Yeah.
I've seen it with my business.
Yeah.
We are on the commercial side, we're pioneering the industry right now
With AI.
with AI. And again, the grassroots are there, the knowledge was there. We just put it in the right context to do what we're doing.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, I think, I mean, AI, you utilize AI.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, it's still till this day, they don't want to use AI because they think
That's
that
fine.
it's something, they don't want their data to be shared with,
I mean, that's a concern
potential.
too. I
That's
mean,
also a concern as
yeah.
well. I mean, there's a whole like rabbit hole you can get
Yeah.
through Anthropic and the
Mhm.
government and stuff like that. But it's going to be significant because once you have these like robots, like
Yeah.
the Terrafab. I mean, you've
Yep.
heard with all the Optimus robots.
Yep.
I just kind of picture, this is my opinion, like 5-10 years from now, you're just gonna have these guys just
Hanging
walking like
out.
this, maybe run a podcast
Yeah.
studio with the robot, right?
Yeah.
Sounds kind of crazy right now, but I personally feel like that's gonna be the reality.
Our
coming.
producer's probably shaking his head back there right
He's
now.
probably shaking his
He's
head,
like,
but
not here, buddy. But yeah.
not here. But I just personally, I mean, with the way that technology is
Yeah.
moving, technology moves really, really fast.
It does.
With all the machine learning,
Mhm.
with all the data that's being inputted.
Look, the
and that-
technology this morning has evolved to this afternoon.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just see how many updates Claude
Mhm.
is coming up with
Yep.
every few days.
which I don't
You're-
like their latest update.
Yeah, I don't like their latest update either. But they have something called the Fable. I don't know if you've used.
Yeah, I
that.
used some of the Fable,
Yeah.
but I had my whole system set up and organized, and they just shook it all up. But
They
whatever.
just shook it all up. But
like you
then-
said, I'll get used to it.
and you get used to it, right?
Yeah.
Technology is about adapting. Life
Yeah.
is about adapting. And this leads me to another question that I have is, what's like the biggest advice that you've received from, whether it's your mentor or someone that you've worked with, that you like to share with the audience?
Biggest advice I've received.
Might be a tricky one, but
That is a tricky one, and I'll kind of frame it as probably I took this advice and I
Yeah.
give this advice now, but it's
yeah,
be authentic,
authenticity.
be yourself, right? I truly believe that every single person is in sales. I don't care what you do, you're in sales.
You are in sales. I
Right?
totally agree.
Even if I'll use a custodian, you're selling your work to your superior.
Yeah.
Right. Your quality of work to your superior, and you're judged on that. Right. So
Learn sales.
learn well, embrace that.
yeah.
Right. And then what do you do with that? Right. Okay. I am a salesperson in these ways.
Yeah.
How do I present that? Right.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to be sold. Right.
Yeah, because the first answer to everyone's no.
So when we talk about homeowners
Yeah.
and homeowners or people dreaming of homeownership,
Yeah.
dreams don't come true. Goals
Goals do.
come true,
Yeah.
right? Goals are achieved. Dreams live in that cartoon bubble,
Yeah.
right? And then, okay, let's pop that bubble. But a lot of people have that fear of taking the first step of just talking with somebody that's qualified because they don't want to be sold. It's the
They don't
fear of
wanna
being
be-
sold, right? So the way that we approach it, and I guess the advice aspect is stop selling, right? Just be authentic and provide value,
Yeah.
right? Provide value, be a giver, and naturally it'll sell, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between an order taking salesperson and an advisor. We are always advisors. That's our
Yeah.
thing. On my residential team, we have mortgage advisors.
Yeah.
On my commercial team, we have commercial loan advisors.
Yeah.
I've never referred to myself as a loan officer or loan originator.
Yeah.
I'm an advisor.
You're an advisor.
And it's a different level of service too. It's strategy, right? It's taking that puzzle and putting it together for the client, right? Versus just taking the order and passing it off.
Got it.
So be authentic, be an advisor in whatever you do.
Cool. The last question I'm going to end it off with is, I know we started the Austin Report Doers Club.
Yeah.
And I want to know from your I've already explained it from my end
Yeah.
what the Austin Report Doers Club is. What is the Austin Report Doers Club for you? And
Yeah.
what benefit does it have for our society in Austin? You know?
I love it. So you and I started this with another colleague of ours,
Yeah.
David, and we wanted to do something different. And
Yeah.
I think this kind of explains it. But community, connection, business, right?
Yeah.
We go to all these networking events all the time, and they're valuable, but a lot of times it's the same thing, right? And I'm not knocking these events, but we wanted to do something different, right? Where it's more focused on the connection, bringing people together that are servant-hearted, that are driven, and not showing up to take, showing
Yeah.
up to give, to add value.
Yeah.
And if you do that and you have the giver's mentality, and I'll plug a book, The Go Giver,
Yeah.
go read that book. If you read that book, it's an easy read, and you're like, yeah, this is who I am. That's who we built this for. That's what the Doers Club is for, right? So it's bringing people in, leading with, hey, you're in this room. I know you're in this room for a reason, and I want to get to know you. I want to connect with you. And I'm not going to tell you what I do for a living because that's not relevant right now.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
That'll surface eventually. And if it's meant to be, business will happen organically.
Yeah.
But it's not about getting business. It's
Yeah.
about growth.
Yep.
Right?
Growth
That's what it
mentality.
is to me. Growth, giving back, and elevating together.
Cool. And I know just for the audience, I know we're going to have events coming up and things
Yeah.
like that. That's going to be in the Austin Report Doers Club Instagram page. So stay tuned to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just want to end it up. Say thank you, Gene.
Appreciate you,
It's been a
man.
pleasure. And
Love what
yeah,
you're doing, man.
Yeah.
You're a friend, and I love watching you grow and
Yeah.
what you bring to the people. And
Yeah. What'd you think about the podcast, the structure and everything?
oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I've been doing this for now. This is my 10th episode.
You're killing it, man. You've made a huge splash in the Austin area since you moved here. And,
Yeah.
I love watching your energy and watching you interact with people is great. And
Yeah.
you're natural.
Seems like I am.
Yeah. Did you ever think that you would be doing this?
No.
I'm
It's-
curious.
It's just I don't know. Something just told me like inside, and I just sometimes just believe in that internal like spirit
Yeah.
and things like that. It
Do
just
you-
told me I had to do this.
Do you believe that this journey with the Austin Report has kind of shaped your identity a little bit?
Yeah, it has. It has made me into one of the connectors
Yeah.
of Austin and really trying to help people that way. You help people with loans. I help people with connections, connecting different businesses together,
Mhm.
connecting people in need that need help.
Do you feel like this journey has brought you out of your shell?
100%.
Love that.
Because 1 year ago I was very introverted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk to people. Now I'm as extroverted as you can get.
I love
I
it,
love
man.
communicating with people. My communication has improved
Yeah.
massively. The way that I organize things have improved massively. Right.
Love it, man.
Yeah, even the podcast, like I told you.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was very nervous. I didn't know what I was gonna talk about.
You were
But,
natural, dude.
but now it's like I know exactly. Like I don't need a script. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no script to this.
Yeah.
We came with this. We came with questions, but
Right.
I think I told you. I'm
Yeah.
like I don't need that
Yeah.
because I
And-
know exactly what I'm gonna say.
And I'm the same way. I could talk all day.
Yeah, I can talk all day, but also talking with structure.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we covered all the the topics. So
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's
Nice
do
to
it.
nice to have you on the podcast.
Appreciate you, man.
Cool.
Keep doing you.
Cool. Sounds good. I think that was good. Right on time.
Sweet. Awesome, dude.
You like it? Oh,
I
I gotta
love it.
take a video of you.
Oh, yeah.
I do this for everyone.